NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Sport Clips Haircuts. Clean, safe, and ready for you. Check in online today. Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Perfect for race fans. And by Toyota. Come to a racetrack like Darlington, and you always think about the history of the sport. Names like Wallace, Parsons, Yarborough, Allison, Jarrett's, Darrell Waltrip, the Earnhardts, Awesome Bill from Dawsonville, David Pearson, the Silver Fox, and of course the King. Want to take a look at the starting grid? We mentioned this is the series where names are made. Well, we heard right there some of the most famous names, the most famous names in the sport. Haley, Briscoe, they're going to make up row number 1. And Steve, a little bit of a formula put together here. No qualifying, no practice, so this will be the first time these guys are on the track when they take the green.
Yeah, basically your starting grid is based off performance last week. It's a complicated math situation we're not going to get into, Rick, because you said there'd be no testing, but that's but their performance has set where they start. Chastain back in row 3, Annette in row 4. A lot of names that we're going to follow all day, DJ. I expect this to be an exciting race. You see if Harrison Burton learned from his father up there in row 2.
See if he takes his advice there. Yeah, that should be interesting to see because it'd have to be okay with that. But as you see, this is a lot easier to get done than going out and qualifying. But we see back here, Brandon Brown really needing to have a good day to keep that 12th spot within his grasp there. And Jeremy Clements trying to do everything he can to gain a few more points on him.
As the names continue, see Moffitt right there in row 11. He's a full-time truck driver. He'll run again tomorrow in the truck series, getting some laps today. Another driver doing double duty, starting actually at the tail of the field. Denny Hamlin, you'll see his name all the way at the back in row 19, the only Cup full-time driver in the field today. Hands down the favorite. It has a lot of cars to pass, Rick.
Yeah, surprising that he's at the bottom of the Sports Clips starting grid, but he will be one of the favorites to come through the field. All right, let's see if we can chat with Brandon Jones, driver of the number 19. DJ?
Hey, Brandon, Dale Jarrett in the NBC booth. You have a copy?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, man.
Hey, Brandon, I know on this throwback weekend you're honoring Robert Huffman, who was a 5-time champion in the NASCAR Dash Series. But let's think back to your first time racing at Darlington or getting in a car. What were your thoughts about this place?
Well, very intimidating for sure, to say the least. But over the years that I've been able to come here, it's obviously one of the places that drivers really enjoy, just for the simple fact that it's a driver's track, right? We're going to be slipping and sliding, moving around, searching for grip. So all that stuff is really fun, but really awesome to be able to drive this scheme. I know Robert was known for winning a bunch of races, so hopefully we can add more to it.
Well, you have a couple of victories yourself this year. Does that make today allow you to be a little bit more aggressive and go try to get another win for you and your team?
It does, I think, for sure. I mean, we don't have, a ton to lose. We would like to finish races because I think that's how you learn. But at the same time, you got to figure out what the car needs, and the only way to do that is to be aggressive with it.
All right, thanks for talking with us. Have a great day out there.
All right, guys, no problem. Thank you.
All right, Steve, take us through our onboards, one of those being the 19 of Brandon Jones.
Yeah, well, we just heard Brandon talk about how they're going to slip and slide all over the racetrack. We're going to be able to watch him, thanks to Toyota with this onboard camera, see him in the cockpit doing the work. We also have an onboard in the 9 of Noah Gragson. I love this look, almost out the windshield. You can see that wall off the right front fender. This is brought to us by Unilever United for America. 10 of Ross Chastain will have the Nutrien Ag Solutions on board. His teammate, Justin Haley, in the 11 will have the leaf filter onboard camera.
It's a little bit of a rarity this year for the Xfinity Series. Normally only visit Darlington once, but because of the scheduling and the rescheduling because of COVID-19, they were actually able to run here in May. Let's look back on that race.
Okay, this was NASCAR's return after the COVID break. What a battle between Briscoe and that 54 of Kyle Busch. Denny Hamlin will be in that car today. It was a Cup Series regular back then, but in the end, The Xfinity Series driver goes to Victor Lane. DJ beating Kyle Busch, that has to be special anytime you can do it.
Yeah, we knew that Chase Briscoe was a special driver. That right there showed that when you can win at Darlington against one of the best ever, that tells you that you've got it enough to take it to the next level.
Once again, the point standings, 7 drivers locked in, only 5 spots remaining. 12 drivers will fight it out in the playoffs. Those playoffs will start 4 races from now. Chase Briscoe already comfortably in with his 6 wins. Now they're coming down pit road, Steve, and they're doing this for what reason?
So without practice or qualifying, some things have to be adjusted. One thing is pit road speed needs to be verified. Normally you do that in practice. With no track time, they come down pit road. They're going to look at the tack. You see right there, Ross Chastain looking at the tack on the front of his dash. I'm going to circle it right here so you can see. Here's another look of Brandon Jones. Basically right there is the tack. They're looking at that, and it's lights, yellow, red, green, and you have to figure out what combination of lights to run the correct speed, because that needle bounces all around. They found a better way to do it with lights. No speedometers, Rick. I always ask why we just couldn't put a speedometer in this car with GPS, but DJ, I guess it's one of the challenges of the driver. You know, we talk about change in NASCAR. Well, one thing that's been consistent is you have to calculate the speed off RPM. So as a race car driver, that's a skill set you have to learn.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't want to scare yourself when you see that speedometer. So it's a lot easier just to look at that tack. You're not going to see much over 9,000 at any time.
Yeah.
I was actually just thinking to hit the cruise control button when you got onto pit road, and then you wouldn't have to worry about it. Let's go back to Parker.
Well, guys, if you want to know how hard Darlington Raceway is, just ask Riley Herbst. When he came here in the spring, he'd never seen the place. He said going off their turn 1 was very intimidating, and he said throughout the race it was a moving target trying to figure this place out, because every time he felt like he had it, the tires started to fall off, and he wasn't correct. He's hoping for a far smoother day today, Jeff.
Yeah, go back here and look at this 9 car. Noah Gregson is the driver. Noah is one of those drivers that's not afraid to get against the wall. Maybe get a Darlington stripe. He's a very aggressive driver. And what did that do for him in the spring? He led the most laps. He won stage 1, but he finished 5th. He's looking for that win today, Marty.
Hey, Jeff, we saw the highlights a moment ago from the May race here and the thrilling last lap pass for Chase Briscoe. I asked him about beating Kyle Busch here in May. He said, no doubt for me, that was a career-defining day. And today, I have Denny Hamlin in the race, so I have a chance to beat Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin at a racetrack that I love. What a year it would be for Chase Briscoe, who no doubt, Rick, is having a career year if he could pull off a win at Darlington over Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin in the same year.
Yeah, certainly an impressive showing is what we've seen out of the 98 and Chase Briscoe here in 2020. One of the different things that's taking place now, we're back in an oval, and Steve, that means that this little mark on the track means something.
So this orange V right here, very simple. Before the restarts, the drivers have to choose inside lane or outside lane. You choose in order, first, second, third, and so forth. You get to decide, top or bottom, where do you want to start? DJ, you just can't hit that orange box. Hitting that orange box is a penalty. But my question to you is, we talk about the toughness of Darlington. Okay, driver, top or bottom? What are we going to see here today?
Well, this is going to be very driver-specific in my mind. I think that you can get by with either one here, depending on your car, and I think who chooses in front of you might make a difference in your choice. I think you can make either one of them work, but you want to be in the correct position. By the time you get to exit of turn 2, you find yourself in a lot of trouble.
Okay, we hear a lot of pep talks taking place before racing. Let's listen into the 11.
Tame this beast. Show them who you're made of. Have fun in there today, Jay. Do what you do, man. Just do what you do. Got a lot of momentum right here. Go get number 3.
That's Justin Haley behind the wheel, and the reason they're talking about momentum, he won the last race. It was Daytona on the high banks there, the 2.5-mile super speedway. What can he do now on this 1 1/3 here? Darlington, the track too tough to tame. Green flags in the air. Most of the time, racetracks, we always think the shortest distance around is the preferred line, but we'll see these cars right up against the wall all the way around.
Yeah, this is the one end right here where you do have some options. You'll see some drivers, especially on fresh tires, be able to go around the bottom and get a good run off of turn 4 to possibly set up a pass before you get back to turn 1 here.
I think the clock is ticking right now. Is how long will it take Denny Hamlin, who started at the back of this field, to work his way up front? Haley right now in the 11. trying to hold off that 22 of Austin Cindric running second. And already, Ryan Sieg in the 39 is around. Issues on the track. The 8 also involved Daniel Hemrick.
Oh, the struggles for Daniel
Somebody
Hemrick.
got in the wall right in front of us, hit it, the wall, came across, had one on the inside corner there, get you fired up there.
Just the struggles for Daniel Hemrick continue, just not having the year he wants, and that John Andretti throwback scheme. I know they were definitely looking for more. Had that check it for Andretti. The NASCAR community losing John Andretti this year with his battle with cancer. That's a message they wanted to get out. Unfortunately, they won't be able to do it. This right here, Rick, huge implications when it comes to the playoffs. Brandon Brown, is the first driver in. Let's take a look at it, DJ.
Yeah, so things get stacked up. You talk about where do you want to be. If you get a little bit high, you see a little bit of contact right there between the 21 and the 7. That just stacks everybody up behind it, and it's just hard to get off the gas and onto the brake quick enough to avoid this.
You mentioned the exit of turn 2. That's where this is, and it seems like Anthony Alfredo just goes up the racetrack. Luckily not to collect the 7. There was contact, and then you see the cars spinning. That's what collect the 68. Look at this right here. The 51, that red car, sneaks through. Man, it was close for everyone.
Listen to this. There's Daniel Hemrick in the 8. You see the damage on that race car. The 21-year-old from Ridgefield, Connecticut, Anthony Alfredo, the driver of the 21, goes up the racetrack. Nowhere for Hemrick to go. And the first caution comes out at Darlington. Transplant is on so many critics' must-watch lists. The Wall Street Journal calls it the best medical show on American TV. Don't miss an all-new Transplant Tuesday on NBC. Marty, did Anthony Alfredo mention anything of what happened there in that accident?
Oh, yeah, you never want to see something like this happen on lap 2, but the rookie Anthony Alfredo had an issue in turn 2. Here's what he had to say.
Happened there, it hit the splitter really hard. When I tried to turn down for the second apex, I don't know if they got into me from behind, but it literally felt like I blew it right front. I know I didn't, but it just drove straight, took off.
And man, he took out a lot of cars with him when he went up into the wall, including Brandon Brown, who is struggling to try and keep up to the back of the pack. They are trying to get the car fixed for Brandon Brown, and this really hurts them because they came into Darlington feeling like this is a track where they definitely could finish in the top 10. But look at that damage on the right front, Steve. I'm not sure they're going to be able to even continue after this early accident for Brandon Brown.
I agree, Marty. That's a tremendous amount of damage. Remember, they're on a clock. You can only have so much time to repair these cars, Rick. And the only way to reset that clock is to reach minimum speed. This car does not look like it's going to be able to reach that minimum speed set by NASCAR. And you see on the left the implications in points. Currently just above that red cutoff line for the playoff field and only currently above 11. He's going to continue to lose points throughout the day.
Every position is a point, and right now we see the 68 of Brandon Brown stopped on the racetrack. Now the choose rule comes into effect, choosing either the high line or the low line. They have to make that decision. They have 2 seconds from the start finish line until they get to that orange cone, more or less. That is where the decision has to be made.
Yeah, NASCAR doesn't allow you as a driver to just lay back and give yourself a lot of distance. You have to keep up here. And I think we're going to see the outside be kind of preferred there, but you can't. It's not like the first 5 can line up and then give the guy in 6th that bottom side, because it can make a lot of difference with that.
So the whole idea of this is we've heard drivers time and time again, that will be a penalty. That's a penalty right there by not making a decision. It looked to me like at the 15. If I had to guess, of Howard, looked like he hit the...
Yeah, Colby Howard in the 15. Yeah, he just hit the box.
So basically, you see on the left-hand side how some guys go back, some guys advance, like the 9 of Noah Gragson moved up 3 spots by taking the inside row 3. So the idea is you used to kind of be set. You had to line up just by luck of off pit road. Let's take a look at this 15 again. Oh, indecision, drives over the orange box, so he'll have to start at the end of the field. This rule allows the drivers, DJ, it's now in your hands. Don't tell me you were in the wrong lane or you know, it was just bad luck because of how he came off pit road. You get to decide if you want to be on the inside or the outside.
He knows he has to go to the back. He was signaling to the other drivers to go around. Lights are off on the pace truck. Now they come back on, so it doesn't look like they're going to go back to green here. So the decisions that these drivers make, we see a lot of guys moving up positions because they chose that inside line.
So the simplest way to look at it is if you look Noah Gragson, inside row 3, the 9. He has +3 spots. He's lining up in what would be considered the 5th position. He was the 8th car on the racetrack. So without even taking the green flag, just by choosing the inside, which I'm assuming because most chose the outside, so a non-preferred lane, he gets the move up. Now the trouble is, he's on the inside. When he gets over there to turn 2, like we just saw that accident, DJ, that's going to be the struggle for Noah.
Yeah, and I think this is the best thing, that outside, for those first 2 cars. Everybody else, there's nothing wrong with the bottom of this, but getting that momentum with these cars that have lesser horsepower is a big thing. So you can get that run around the top. But, you know, as far as Chase Briscoe, he doesn't want to restart 6th instead of being able to start up on the front row. He's going to take and try to make what he can. So it's made for a very interesting thing, putting something else in the driver's hands as to where you want to restart and making the most of that position.
Denny Hamlin mentioned that he started at the back of the field. Well, he's already moved up to 21st now on the scoring monitors. How good is Denny Hamlin? Well, his career at Darlington, he has 5 Xfinity Series wins. The rest of the field, and the only one there that has won is Chase Briscoe earlier this year. So 5-1 for Denny Hamlin against the field. Are those the odds that you give him, or are they better than that?
How about even? Even money. Even money, him versus the field.
Yeah, it's kind of like Kentucky Derby today. You can't even get anything close to that, hardly, with the favorites here. And Denny is that. He reminds me of David Pearson driving this racetrack so much, who was the master at this place.
I mean, think about it, Rick. The one race he didn't run in the top 5 in the last 10, he still was the first car to the start-finish line. They just failed inspection after. So from a driver's seat, he's done everything right.
Coming back to start-finish line, and it looks like the 11 issues getting back up to speed. Spun the tires, almost got turned around on the restart. Now the inside line moves. Briscoe's going to take the lead, and here comes the 10. Ross Chastain moves to 2nd.
So that's not a penalty now, because the 11, the lead car, did accelerate first. He just spun the tires, so Chase Briscoe could beat him back to the start-finish line.
And You see that white, yellow, and blue number 9, the 6th car back. We talked about the choose, running 8th, chose the inside, will come out of this restart in the 6th position. That's a gain for that car. And how about Harrison Burton in that green and orange car? Jeff Burton said it was criticized for being too loud on the racetrack. Well, let me applaud him. Easy to pick out. Big fan of that throwback scheme for Harrison Burton.
Throwing back to his father there with that Dex Imaging number 20.
We heard Jeff mention it in pre-race, a scheme that not only did he run, but he ran with success here at Darlington.
Yeah, and you have to tip your hat to the sponsors as well, because these sponsors, that might not even be close to what their normal color schemes would be, but allowing these drivers and teams to be able to put on these throwback paint schemes. And we see here, that's what Dad's paint scheme looked like, that gain number 9. And now we see, well, there's Noah Gragson there with a different paint scheme also.
Yeah, let's say one thing about Jeff Burton and his success at this track with all the wins that he had in the this Xfinity series and the Cup side of it. A lot of these times that Jeff Burton was driving a car that he helped set up if he wasn't the one making the setup himself. So not only was he so talented as driving the race car, but he set the car up to what he needed as a driver.
Top of the screen, you see Chase Briscoe, race leader. Ross Chastain in the 10, running in the 2nd position. Riley Herbst in the 18 down on the lower part of the screen. Noah Gragson as well as Harrison Burton. That's the 3, the 18 and the 20 Joe Gibbs Racing cars. And look at this, a battle for the lead. Here comes the 10 of Ross Chastain.
Yeah, it looked like that Chase Briscoe was not in the right position there, but you can see he made that work. Chastain was really aggressive. He's going to take the lead there, but here comes Chase Briscoe on trying to do the crossover back, kind of made famous by Dale Earnhardt. He taught all of us kind of how to do that on both ends of this racetrack.
Crossover move after somebody does a slide job on you and slides up in front. Cross him back over. Ross Chastain now up front, Marty.
Always known as an aggressive driver up front. And remember that Xfinity Series race here a few years ago when he showed he was willing to move Kevin Harvick out of the way to take the lead. And I asked him about his aggressive move at the end of the race at Daytona last week, 1 week removed from it, willing to move his teammate for the win at Daytona. And he said, I still stand by what I said last week. That was my race to win. I'm the regular season driver. I don't want to sit there and finish second. You got to love the aggressiveness of this driver, Steve, but sometimes it makes everybody else in the field a little bit mad. But if you're on his team, you're cheering for him every step of the way.
Well, if you're on his team, you love the aggression. I have concern that his consistent aggression perhaps will force other drivers to race him differently, but we've yet to see that. He's found a way to find success. What he has yet to do, DJ, is find victory lane. I mean, Ross Chastain in this 10 has done everything but this year. 19 top 10s. 3 second-place finishes. I mean, at some point he has to break through. You would assume the numbers just beg him.
Yeah, and he's a very aggressive driver, and I think he's feeling a little bit of pressure not winning at this point in time. But here's another thing. He's going to continue to be aggressive. He didn't come in, and he said this a number of times, he didn't come here to make friends. He came here to win races.
Ross Chastain, a watermelon farmer, stopped on the way here to get a watermelon, just in case he gets to victory lane. That's what he likes to do when he wins. All right, Jeff Burton, you told us that you were going to bring us, the fans that can't be at the racetrack, to places where we would like to be. Where are you?
Well, I am in the place that I think describes Darlington. It's not visual. This to me is what Darlington's all about. You see the cars driving into turn 1, and then they literally climb the hill and get right against the wall of 1 and 2, and then watching them try to navigate off of the exit of turn 2. Some are right against the wall, some are turning early, but this shot right here, to me, it is what Darlington is all about. Driving in, and right back to the gas, and just being real aggressive approaching that wall.
What Darlington is all about. And so far, only a couple guys have taken Jeff's advice as far as hitting the wall early.
Well, I will say, between the proximity, how close the cars are to the wall, and DJ, that old school red and white checkered look, the cars, for me, on top of the truck here, this is one of the tracks standing in the infield, they just looked fast.
Yes.
I mean, I know they run much faster at other tracks, but here the speed was apparent.
Yeah, and you feel it as a driver, too. It's just incredible. And that turn 1, The first advice I got from a driver there was Harry Gant. Took me out there, walked me out there, and then took me around in a car later on. But he explained to me about that turn 1, that was the most important part of the racetrack. Your entry and where you got back on the gas there, and I never forgot that as long as I drove. Harry
Gant, the Skull Bandit, giving advice to a Hall of Famer. That's pretty impressive. And right now, impressive is Ross Chastain. He's got about a half a second lead over now Austin Cindric, who was able to get by Chase Briscoe.
And we expect a yellow coming soon. It'll be a competition yellow provided by NASCAR because of that lack of practice. It would allow teams the opportunity to pit if they so choose, although I hear a lot of teams saying they're going to stay out and save tires. So we'll see how that works.
You say save tires. Is it possible to save tires at Darlington? I think this might be one of the roughest or maybe the most abrasive racing surfaces that these drivers will visit.
Well, new tires are such an advantage and limited with 4 tires in the pits. All of these teams near the front don't want to burn tires up now, put an extra set on, and want to wait in that final stage in case they get a yellow. Because if you get a yellow, you have got to have tires to put on your race car.
Put it out.
And there it is, the yellow.
Caution.
Yeah, but a driver like Denny Hamlin can save tires. He understands how to get around this and not abuse his car or the tires and kind of make them mad. So he can have a little bit more left from those tires. It's going to be really interesting to see who chooses this, though, as far as staying out possibly. Never want to think about restarting without putting on fresh tires here, but this could be very interesting.
Free pass goes to the 39. Brian Sieg will get that free pass. And let's check in with Parker. I know you didn't want to talk to a driver this early, but you're going to have to.
No, I did not, Rick. Daniel Hemrick was involved on that incident in turn 2, lap 2 with Anthony Alfredo. Anthony said that he got on the splitter and went up the racetrack. Is that what you saw from your point of view?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if his iRacing simulator quit working or what, but frustrated, man. We had a lot of high hopes coming into today, and felt like we had a really good car in the spring and able to build off of it. And I don't know, just the way this season's been, man, you only get so many opportunities, and you want to go make the most of them, and you can't be sitting here talking to you guys in lap 2. But I don't know, just a lot of things out of our control this year, but hopefully keep fighting for my life in the weeks to come. I don't know what's going to happen moving forward, but just going to keep trying to put the best foot forward, and yeah, just thankful to everyone at Junior Motorsports. I've been the guy fixing cars before, building cars week in and week out, and they've had to do a lot of that for me this year, so I don't want to go unnoticed. I really appreciate them sticking behind me, and just one of those years, just try to keep going to carry on.
And guys, you really got to feel for him, his 7th DNF this season.
Yeah, Daniel Hemrick, when he mentioned fighting for his life, he's not a regular anymore in this series. He was a regular in the Xfinity Series, was running for a championship, moved up to the Cup Series, didn't have great success there, and then more or less lost his job. And so now he's fighting for a job driving for Junior Motorsports. How does it affect the point standings? Again, Brandon Brown right there on the cutoff line. Great names that have graced this mile and a third of Darlington. Yarber and Pearson. You're watching NASCAR Xfinity Series Racing. Sport Clips Haircuts VFW 200 from Darlington Raceway. Ross Chastain in that Nutrien Ag number 10. And now drivers once again choosing which direction to go.
What a great graphic, shows them populate as they decide. So the front three all took the high lane, as you mentioned. Under that set of pit stops, the 18 of Riley Herbst. You no longer see him in the front 5 rows. He came down pit road. Right there, you'll see him at the top of the screen, that black car with the Monster logo on the hood. He was complaining of a motor issue, kind of intermittent. They checked all the wires, the plug wires. They think they found one that was a little bit loose. He says the engine is running now. Parker, do they think they have the issue corrected?
Right, they came across it. They had a cold cylinder, and it looked like one of the plug wires was a little loose, and he came out and said it got all the RPMs in 3rd gear, so they should be good to go from here.
All right, cold cylinder. So, Rick, you open the hood, you take a temp gun. V8 engine. All the temperatures should be roughly the same temperature. If one cylinder is much cooler, just shooting the head area, then you know that's the one not firing. So, therefore, focus on that spark plug, that spark plug wire, kind of diagnose the issue.
I don't know, I was ever lucky enough to actually find that in a car.
Yeah,
You thought they would be that simple?
I used to, you know, we're going to check the exhaust. Well, guess what? They were all hot.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, I don't know which one's not as hot, but.
Yeah, they were all hot. Getting ready to restart here after the competition caution.
See if Haley can do a better job in that white car in the front row. He spun the tires on every restart. That time on the inside, DJ accelerates well.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here as he goes to exit turn 2, but he got a really good start against his teammate here.
Ross Chastain holds on to the lead. Haley on the inside. And now Austin Cindric in the 22, sitting in the 3rd spot. And coming into the frame here, the 54 of Denny Hamlin has made it up into the top 10.
That red and white car, about the 5th one back on the outside. You're going to see him right there passing the 20. Now he's going to go past or get to the outside of the 9. The 9 will concede the spot.
Stevie's got 19 laps. Can he get up and win this first stage after starting in the very back of the field?
That would be where my money's at. I think Denny Hamlin's numbers at this track specifically are unbelievable when you look about it. Look at what he's able to do. Drives to the bottom of the racetrack. And this is, I think, where he's so good, DJ, is he's patient with the throttle. Does not spin those rear tires.
Yeah, and he finds himself in the right spot so many times. I mean, it's not luck. He's looking ahead, seeing what's going on, seeing if there's a loss of momentum in one of the lanes. You can see right there taking that spot away from Justin Allgaier. And he's just so good at anticipating what might be happening in front of him and taking advantage of that.
I mentioned the big names in this sport, Yarborough, Pearson. Well, Yarborough is the paint scheme that Denny Hamlin's throwing back to. Cale Yarborough's 1980s Hardee's paint scheme.
And Rick, I think this is a little fair. DJ, I'd love to give your opinion as a driver. I saw this with Jeff Gordon at Martinsville. We would go there and he had so much success that when he pulled out a line, they almost conceded the spot. They just knew he was going to be so fast, they didn't fight him as hard. I'm almost seeing that a little bit with Denny right here. They expect him to be so good. They're like, you know what? I'm going to make my car better. You just go ahead. I know you're going by anyway.
Yeah, and why not try to get behind him and see a little bit? Is there something that Denny does differently? And I can tell you, watching Denny Hamlin drive, there are things that he does differently than other people, and he will be the first to tell you that he drives it a little different. But he uses the throttle a lot. He doesn't use a lot of brake, so he's not making his tires mad. He's not adding that extra heat to the front tires to where they start sliding, and then he doesn't have a good handling car. But I agree, these drivers understand that Denny Hamlin's one of the best here, and so why not learn from that? He's going to pass you. Why make it more difficult for yourself and him?
And Parker, the 7 of Justin Allgaier, one of the cars that Denny just passed. Is Justin complaining about his car, or does he think it's working okay?
Well, Rick, I think it's more to the discussion that Steve and DJ were just having and watching Denny Hamlin. Take a listen to what Justin had to say on his radio under this last caution.
So behind you, obviously, the 54 is coming. Figured he'd be running out there by the fence. Like, that's typically more his style. It's interesting what he does on 1 and 2, because he takes that Harvick low line in, but he gets to the wall at center and rides the wall until it's time to turn down. 10-4.
Right, guys, so there you have it. We're all watching, including the drivers. Even a veteran like Justin Allgaier is watching a guy like Denny Hamlin, who's so good here, carving through this field, thinking he's going to do one thing. Of course, Denny's got a repertoire of tools inside that race car. He's doing something different.
This is what they were talking about, the exit of 2. This is a great shot right in front of you. See Denny Hamlin. Look how he stays up to the wall longer, much longer than the leader of Ross Chastain. In my mind, that's the big difference.
Yes.
He does a lot of different things, DJ, but that's the one part of the track that at least my naive eyes can see a major difference.
Well, when you run around the wall up there, you're not having to turn the wheel as much at that point. Denny does such a great job of using the throttle, so he's not trying to go wide open and then all of a sudden jump out of the throttle. He's just staying half throttle, back and forth with it, and then he gets his car pointed straight off the corner, where Ross Chastain, we saw him, he was having to really turn his tire, the front tires to get his car to turn, as Denny's going to go by Chastain and get the lead right here. Just really smart driving and understanding what you need to do to not make the tires mad and to show your talents as good as you can, and he's one of the best.
So people ask, why is he running on Saturday? He's so good at this track, Rick. Why would he just not wait and run in the Cup race tomorrow? Well, when we talked to Denny Hamlin about that, he thinks this is a rhythm racetrack. He likes to go out there and get laps. I know the rules are different. The cars are going to drive different. But remember, tomorrow is the big show. It's the race 1 of the NASCAR playoffs for the Cup Series. Denny Hamlin, one of the favorites. They have had no practice. DJ, these laps today are going to have to help him starting that race tomorrow.
Yeah, there's definitely differences in the car, but that driving style and what you feel certainly is a benefit.
So 34 laps is all it took, actually less than that, for Denny Hamlin to go from the back to the front. We go NASCAR nonstop. If you'd like to be in charge, NASCAR Drive, that is your live race day companion. You can follow your favorite drivers with high-definition in-car cameras. Just visit NASCAR.com/drive. You can download the mobile app today. Still out front, it's Denny Hamlin. He has almost a 3-second lead already. He is that good here at Darlington. Let's check in with Marty.
Hey, Rick, these paint schemes so cool this weekend, including the junior motorsports car of Michael Annett in 10th right now. And they went all out. Not only did they get the paint scheme right, They went out and got the sponsor Oreo to jump on board as well for Dale Earnhardt Jr. This was a throwback to 2002. He won the Xfinity Series season opener at Daytona, and one of 2 Xfinity Series wins Dale Jr. earned in the number 3. He also won at Daytona, Parker.
And Marty, one of my favorite schemes in the field has to go to Brent Moffitt and R Motorsports with their tribute to Mike Stefanik, the modified legend. You see the car there on the right, the Burnham Boiler scheme that he also ran in the Busch North Series. A total legend who unfortunately lost his life last year and has been inducted in the NASCAR Hall of Fame class of 2021. Love that scheme.
Talk about Mike Stefanik and how dominant. 2 years in a row, he won the modified and the Busch Champion. Look at the right front or the nose of the 11.
Really?
Yeah.
Heavy damage on the nose of the 11. We're going to have to find out where that happened. He has run into someone with a ton of force. I mean, that thing, DJ, that thing is bent bad.
Yeah, we didn't see that on a restart, and you can tell it's really affecting the handling now. Got the splitter up in the air. Yeah, that's going to be a handful.
And DJ, they've been talking about whether to bring him to pit road, but only 4 to go here in the stage. They're going to kind of limp around as best as they can. The contact did happen on the racetrack. We're going to go back and find out where it happened. But Haley has been dealing with a very free race car, and when the contact happened, he was running second at the time. Justin Haley now back in 11th.
Yeah, has just fallen out of the top 10. So that damage, we found it. Here's where it took place.
The old
Slide job gone wrong.
Well, it went wrong
For
for
one
the guy.
driver.
I was going to say, Justin Allgaier, I mean, that's the Darlington, right? Look at this right here. 3 wide, the 7, the 44 of Tommy Joe Martin, and the 1. The 44 took tires at that competition yellow, so much fresher tires and making them pay off. Going to drive up into the top 7.
I was really surprised someone like Jeremy Clements didn't try that to try to get some stage points with the 68 of Brandon Brown. Having some problems here today.
Under 2 laps to go, and they close pit road, so you can't come to pit road now as we're closing in on the end of stage 1. We were looking at the back of the 7 of Justin Allgaier. That's where that 11 came and made contact. And you see Martins has slid up into the 7th position now in that 44. Impressive run for Tommy Joe.
Doing that DW throwback, that 1985 Budweiser. That was the colors he ran when he ran his 3rd Cup title. So doing a nice job with those colors. And look at the gaggle of cars back here.
Driving like DW, who's always so good here.
So big fight a little bit further back. No fight right now for Hamlin as he comes to get the green and white checkered flag. He'll win stage 1 handily. That's his first Xfinity Series stage win of the year, seeing as though it's his first Xfinity Series start of the year. Chastain, Cindric, Briscoe all will hold on to spots in the top 10. Points given out to the top 10 at the end of each stage. And so that means Tommy Joe Martins has grabbed a few spots. Michael Annett, Ryan Sieg, and Justin Allgaier all ending up inside of the top 10 at the end of stage 1. But it's Denny Hamlin who went from the back to the front to win the stage. Denny Hamlin and Tiz the Law's odds, I think, the same. Tiz the Law's running for the Triple Crown as it continues later today. Coverage of the 146 Kentucky Derby live from Churchill Downs. That's coming up 2:30 Eastern only on NBC. And yes, Rutledge Wood is going to have a crazy suit on, but it'll be from home. He's going to bring the fans with him to enjoy the Kentucky Derby today. And the cars are headed towards you now, Parker.
All right, Rick, and Denny Hamlin may have put on a clinic there, but bad news for the rest of the field. He wasn't even particularly happy with that car. Said it was pretty tight in the center. To the exits can be Ford Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel for race leader Denny Hamlin.
Ross Chastain, middle of your screen. Parker said, I just cannot work underneath other cars. It's too tight, and I feel like I've burnt the front tires off during that run, so they're going to work here to try and free up that number 10 car for Chastain. Up front, Chase Briscoe. They asked him on a scale of 1 to 10, how much help do you need? He said a 6. I'm having to work way too hard in here. He said at the end of that run, the car was so free. You saw that track bar adjustment in the back of the window there, trying to tighten up Chase Briscoe. And meanwhile, at the very front of pit road, Justin Haley trying to get all that damage repair done on the 11 car, while Briscoe picks up 3 spots there, Rick, wins the race off pit road.
Yeah, interesting, too. A lot of strategy being played because Denny Hamlin won't come out anywhere near the front of the field after pit stops. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Applebee's Handcrafted Burgers. Available dine-in, delivery, and to go. Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Perfect for race fans. And by Sport Clips Haircuts. Clean, safe, and ready for you. Check in online today. And choose roll taking place. Inside, outside. Making sure you don't hit the orange box. Right after the arrow on the track.
Or run into the guy in front of you.
Or run into the guy in front
like
of you.
stack up like on an exit ramp on the interstate.
Stage points earned. I mentioned top 10 are able to earn points. That will help them, especially those fighting to get into the playoffs, be a part of the top 12. Denny Hamlin, he runs full-time in the Cup Series. He's not eligible for points in the Xfinity Series. On down from there, everyone grabbing a few points.
Nice recovery by Ryan Sieg. Back there, 2 points. Remember, he was involved in that accident, DJ.
Yeah.
To come all the way back into the top 10. Impressive run.
Yeah, and first time that Tommy Joe Martins has got any stage points. So good for him. And I saw a little stripe on the right side of his, so he took Jeff Burton's advice. How about it, Marty?
Pole sitter Justin Haley just finishing damage and repair. You see him on the backstretch as we're coming green right now, guys, but he is going to restart 34th at the beginning of the race up front today. So it's going to be a much different view for the beginning of stage 2 than it was the beginning of the race for Justin Haley.
Right there with Brandon Brown in the 68s, and once again up through the gears they go, wiggling as they come back to the start line.
Oh man, a big swing by the 39 of Sieg. I'm not sure what happened there.
Briscoe trying to get by Chastain. Right along with Chastain looking back. Brandon Jones in that 19 running in the 3rd spot. You mentioned Ryan Sieg in that 39 inside the top 10.
And Denny Hamlin's 10th right now after he had a little bit of a slow pit stop there. But it's going to be a little more difficult with everybody on newer tires here for him to make his way to the front. Oh, he's going to get there, but I think it might take a little bit longer than what we saw after the restart from the competition caution earlier.
And green and white, number 22 right there of Austin Cindric passing the 19. That bright yellow throwback, Brandon Jones in that car. I agree, DJ. I think, you know, on new tires, the good to the poor handling cars are much closer. As the tires wear, that gap becomes bigger. So I think what you're mentioning about Denny is dead on. Parker, what's the 7 of Allgaier saying back there?
Well, Steve, you talk about tire wear. We'll take a look at what the right front of Justin Allgaier's tire, the right front tire, looked like after stage 1. It was beat up. You see it right there, totally coming apart, showing the cords there. I would say that's a bit of a tight condition. Also, Steve, maybe a little bit of no rubber being out on the track going all the way through stage 1.
Absolutely. So basically, they're the first cars on the racetrack, so the wear is going to be the highest. And what you see there, where it looks like it's unwound like a thing of yarn, that's really what happens, Rick. When you wear through the rubber, then you get to this fabric. And then once you pick up and peel away a piece of fabric, it unwinds like a ball of yarn. And there you go. That's what the tires look like. You never want to see that, but you would assume they would get better.
Yeah, and that's why we saw, as we see this battle for second here going on, why you saw when Justin tried to make that slide job, his car just simply would not turn. He was having to wait because he didn't have any grip with that right front tire.
Yeah, the most impressive part might be that Allgaier didn't hit the wall that time.
Yeah, he could say that and show Justin Haley why he had to slow down so much. Maybe he will forgive him for that.
So Brandon Jones in the 19 and Ross Chastain in the 10 fighting for positions. Chastain has been down on the bottom line, and cars have been going by him on that high line. Austin Cindric did it in the 22. Then we just saw Brandon Jones do it.
So DJ, we talk about the tires. Cars slow down well over 2.5, 3 seconds on old tires. How hard do these young drivers push? How hard should they be pushing? You see Briscoe out there leading currently by almost over a second. Should he at some point run maybe 80 or 85%?
Yeah, you don't want to go any more than that. I mean, the harder you go at this, it feels so good. You want to go, but you just have to know that you're going to pay the price at the end of this stage. In those last 10, 15 laps, if you go hard right now, you're going to get in real trouble. Riding along here and see what the 10 car, as he runs up, you can see Cindric had kind of put a slide job on him, trying to retake this. A little contact there. You don't side draft that much at Darlington, but they decided to today.
Maybe that was showing displeasure.
We've seen a lot of that in this series this year.
Yeah.
Displeasure with each other.
Noah Gragson in the 9. Right behind him, the 54. It's Denny Hamlin once again. A little bit of a slower pit stop after winning stage 1. Came back out just outside the top 10 and been fighting his way back up now.
So I love not only this look, but just listen. Listen to the work that Gregson's doing as we look at the telemetry as well. I mean, he's never wide open throttle.
No, and that was a problem because Denny had his car rotated and driving straighter off, and that's why he was able to accelerate more and make that pass.
Saw a good little glimpse there of the sidewalls of the Goodyear tires. They threw back as well. Those are blue. They call them the blue streak. very popular from the 60s and 70s until Goodyear went with the Eagle in 1981, but Goodyear also throwing it back.
That's what makes this weekend so special, is it isn't one car, it isn't one series. It's really NASCAR all the way across the board, whether it's sponsors, you mentioned sponsors giving up their normal colors, allowing these throwback schemes. The racetrack has done a nice job. Goodyear's on board. I think that really determines the success, is the buy-in across the board.
I can honestly say that I'm the only one in this booth that can remember all of those changes.
I was alive in the 70s.
I made it by a few months.
Thankfully. You're watching NASCAR Xfinity Series Racing Sport Clips Haircuts VFW 200 from Darlington. One of the many great things about NASCAR, you can go inside the headsets and listen to the drivers during the race. And you can do that with NASCAR Scanner for only $4.99 during the playoffs. Go to NASCAR.com/scanner. Jeff Burton, where have you found yourself at Darlington?
Hey, when I was a kid, my dad brought me to this racetrack, and we sat in the grandstand. Right there, top of turn 2, covered grandstands. My ears rang for a week. I think they're still ringing from it. But the views that I got as a kid of these cars coming off of this down turn 2, that used to be turn 4, is absolutely crazy. It is ingrained in my brain. Being a young guy watching these cars come off this corner and standing down here today, the cars look the same the way they approach this corner. This is one of the racetracks you go to, and nothing's changed. It's the same racetrack that I came to when I was a kid watching. And with seeing these cars in these race teams really takes me back. It's pretty awesome.
And that's a great point that Jeff brings up there. A lot of racetracks have modernized themselves. They've done things to make it more modern, but Darlington has really stayed the same. Nothing has really changed. It's an egg-shaped racetrack. One end of the racetrack a little narrower than the other end of the racetrack. The reason for that, a minnow pond. They didn't want to move the minnow pond that was out there in the field. So it hasn't changed. And Darlington really has so much tradition and history to it.
Yeah, I think people, especially drivers, would be would not let that happen, that they could make any changes to this. You know, as Jeff was standing there, I was seeing kind of what used to be the scoring booth down there at what was the exit of turn 4. And it was kind of a family grandstand down there. I was thinking back to 1965 where I was watching my dad win the Southern 500.
Was that the one by 14 laps?
Barely won it, barely won it. Yeah. But, yeah.
Squeezed it out.
But just, yeah, you're right. There's so much history there, and things just haven't changed about it, and the driving of the track hasn't changed, other than the speeds are a lot faster. As we watched there, as you were describing that, Brandon Jones moved up into that second spot.
Let's go to Parker.
Well, guys, Brandon Jones looking really fast inside that 19 car, and that car is a tribute to a very fast Toyota. Right there on the right, Robert Huffman's Dash Series Toyota Celica, which is the series that Toyota entered in the year 2000, the first NASCAR series they entered. How important is that car to Toyota? When you go to their headquarters in Plano, Texas, guess what's sitting in the front lobby? That exact 37 car on the right. It means a lot to Toyota, and what a cool scheme for Brandon Jones to be chasing down the leader, Marty.
The car in the lead for Chase Briscoe might look familiar to you because it's Tony Stewart, his boss's paint scheme from 2011. He's also wearing Tony's helmet as well. He told me, with Tony's helmet, I haven't had so much luck. I'm hoping the paint scheme does bring me some luck. And remember what happened, Rick, in 2011? Tony Stewart said, man, we shouldn't even be in the playoffs. We're going to waste the space in the playoffs. Stewart went on to win 5 of the 10 races, won the championship in 2011 with a tiebreaker over Carl Edwards. So today, Chase Briscoe hoping the boss's paint scheme brings him a little luck here at Darlington.
Yeah, Chase Briscoe is a little bit taller than Tony, and so he actually was jokingly back at the shop. He started to put his fire suit, his driver's suit on, and he goes, this one's not going to work. Maybe we'll just go with the helmet look because the suit's not going to fit.
Well, the 98 of Briscoe's working through traffic right here. If we go all the way back to the restart, NASCAR warned the 98 for maintaining speed. So basically, DJ, the rule is when the pace car pulls off, the leader has to run pace car speed all the way around and not slow down or brake check. So as we watch this right here, I believe the 98's pretty consistent. I don't see any slowing down.
Yeah, it's really difficult as a drive, but, you know, again, there's no speedometer. You're just going by your tachometer as to what that was. And as we see here, never at any point did he slow down. That looked like as good a restart as you would want from the front. Marty?
And DJ, they have filed a kind of complaint back with NASCAR. In fact, Chase said, I didn't do anything wrong. I held the same speed the entire time. That was the 10 sort of saying, hey, we think the 98 was playing games there, but clearly we showed he was maintaining speed the entire time. Richard Boswell, his crew chief, told him, hey, don't worry about it. Focus forward, do exactly what you've been doing the entire race. A further problem for the 98 might be that he feels like he could have a tire going down. He slowed down a little bit. They told him to feel it out for the next couple of laps with Chase Briscoe in the lead. Maybe concerned there might be a tire going down on that 98.
So, Rick, why would I argue a warning? Well, you know, does a warning put you at a deficit for a later restart, DJ, right? If you've already been warned, they're going to have a whole lot less leeway for you to do it incorrectly. So if I feel like I'm in the right, I'm going to raise my hand now and say, okay, you've warned me, but I don't know what for because I feel like I did it correctly.
Sideways there for Briscoe.
Yeah, that's good driving there. And certainly you feel a lot of things as a driver. Back to your point, Steve, about arguing about that as we see Justin Allgaier here on pit road. But did you ever win any of those arguments?
No, I didn't. But I wanted to just get the argument noted. As you mentioned, Allgaier on a pit road, this is definitely unscheduled. They can make this entire stage here on one set of tires and one tank of fuel. Let's listen in.
Hopping in the right front's come apart again. I'm coming to pits right now.
All right, so we showed you, Parker showed us the right front tire originally off the 7 that had come apart, unwound, basically wore through all of the rubber. It sounds like the 7 has the same issue. We're going to ask Parker to run down there and check it out. Parker.
Right, Steve, so I'm down here looking at the right front with the team, and it's just barely starting to come apart just on the inside shoulder of the right front. It's very minuscule, so Justin obviously had great feel. Maybe, you know, sometimes as a driver, you have it happen once and you start to feel the same thing again, and it almost tricks you into thinking it's happened all over again, but it wasn't quite there for Justin Allgaier.
Hey guys, keep in mind too, this is Darlington, right? And we talk about tradition, heritage, and history. Well, one of those things is tire wear here. It's excessive tire wear. Major fall off in speed from when they started this run to where they are right now. And if you look around, you can see the drivers, they started moving their lines. Some are right against the wall, some are on the bottom. They're going to change those lines throughout this run because the tires do lose so much speed.
And maybe crew chiefs trying to be a little aggressive with camber, getting as much grip as they possibly can. Well, we know now that Justin Allgaier has felt that right front might be going away from him at times. We go NASCAR nonstop. You just saw it. Denny Hamlin takes the lead once again with under 7 laps to go at Darlington in stage 2. And what success Denny Hamlin has had as we look at the Sport Clips Haircuts 54. Denny Hamlin, 5 Xfinity Series wins, 3 Cup Series wins back in 2017. He swept the September races with Sport Clips as his sponsor. So a good pairing there between Denny Hamlin and Sport Clips.
And a good day for Toyota as well, as Brandon Jones in that bright yellow 19 moves to second. Another thing that happened is the 7 of Justin Allgaier. We saw him on pit road, Parker, and then he came down pit road again and took the left-hand turn into the garage area. What are you hearing out of the 7?
Right, we saw that tire that came apart on the right front, then it started to do it again, and then they told him just head to the garage. I'm checking the team. I'm going down there to try and find out what's happened, but obviously some issue in the right front for 7 car of Justin Allgaier right now that's been causing those tire issues.
So there is slight damage on the right side of this car. I wouldn't expect that slight wall contact would have bent something in the front end, but obviously there's a reason that Jason Burdett called him to pit road. Let's listen in.
I'm just hardcore on the splitter right at the moment.
Go to the garage. Come in, stop now and go to the garage. Come down pit road, just go back to the garage.
And Steve, I want to remind fans, he went to the garage. He didn't bring out a caution, so he's not on a damaged vehicle policy or anything. He's going to be able to fix it if they can and get back out on the racetrack with no penalty from NASCAR.
If he wants to. He'd only be racing for regular season points. He's currently 5th in the playoff standings with a win. So what I hear there, this is my assumption through all of that data. Tearing up right front tires. Then he says he's on the splitter. Jason Burdett instantly goes, okay, we shouldn't be on the splitter. Something has perhaps bent. Maybe when we hit the wall, it bent a suspension component or something in the front end. DJ, now the car is sitting too low. Jason Burdett, that's experience to say, you know what? We're having a good year. I don't need to have my driver blow a tire at 140 miles an hour. This sport is still very, very dangerous. So, Jeff, sounds to me like a crew chief saying, you know what, enough, bring it in here, let's talk about it.
Yeah, that's a tough day. Algar got that win a few weeks ago. He talked about his year not going well, got that win, and then it started not going well again. Now I've worked my way to turn 3. I'm getting exercise today. And this corner is awesome too. I mean, every corner here is. The cool thing about this corner is just you can do anything. Watch cars. Some of them are on the very bottom of the racetrack. Some are against the wall. Some are in the middle. They're just running all over the racetrack over here. The goal, though, is to get right against the wall. And look at those stripes. Look how already in the middle of 3 and 4, the corner is just completely full of tire marks on those walls. I hope they don't paint them for tomorrow because I love that look.
And normally they do. Gary Tharp, president here at Darlington, over the evening, they will normally go back in and they will paint the area where those marks were, the Darlington stripes, where tires hit. That way the sponsor, and around goes the 9. Noah Gregson sliding, we saw it happening. Also catching Dexter Bean in the 90.
All right, get it pedaled up. Let's
the
go.
Final lap of stage 2. And the caution has come out.
You couldn't have had an issue at a better time for Noah Gregson at the end of stage 2. It won't cost him a set of tires. And just a big slide. Great job by the driver keeping it off the wall.
Yeah, he did a great course. He's the one that got himself in that position, but he recovered from that and did keep it off the wall, no damage. And as you pointed out, the most important thing was it's not going to cost him a set of tires here. Just has to kind of take it easy and not blow something out here.
To it.
You mentioned a mistake.
J-Rock.
I think I forget how young these drivers are, but this is learning. Noah Gregson, he's going to pass the 10. He's sliding up. A really nice job by Noah saying, I am going to wreck us both if I don't spin this thing out kind of on my own. Gets spun out, drives it down the banking.
Riding along now.
I work at the bottom half back inside. Inside tight, really tight, spinning.
So as a young driver, you might have drove it in there to the same point you've been driving in and say, well, I made it before. Well, yeah, but you could slide all the way to the wall in making that happen. Here you had to turn the car. Once you start turning the front end and get it to turn, then the back end breaks loose. See how far he drives in?
Yeah, right here. So he's spinning. But DJ, watch this when he goes up the wall. Stands on the gas, right? Saves the back of that race car, don't you think?
Yes, he did. Yeah, very smart move there.
So another junior motorsports car with an issue. We saw it out of Justin Allgaier earlier. Denny Hamlin once again gets another stage win.
Welcome back to Darlington Raceway. As you see, the leaders are on pit road, led by Denny Hamlin, who was too tight for most of the first stage, too loose in that stage. Jacob Cantor's going to tighten him up, Marty.
Ross Chastain said his car was so loose he didn't know what to tell his guys, and then with about 3 to go in the stage, he made contact with the wall. They're going to check the right front, spend a little extra time there, the right rear as well, just to make sure everything is good for Chastain. Meanwhile, Chase Briscoe, same story as Denny Hamlin. First run, way too tight. He was using the apron to turn the car. This run, way too loose. He said, I know the right rear is gone on this car. Chase Briscoe leaving pit road and uses that up front pit stall to take the lead, or keep the lead, I should say, here on pit road.
Looked as though better work for the 54 team. They lost 2 spots, but that's a lot better than the last time they were on pit road. Briscoe and Chastain gaining a couple spots. Everyone changing 4 tires. Michael Annett, the biggest benefactor there, with gaining 3 spots on pit road, moving all the way up to 5th.
So the interesting thing now, DJ, as we were talking about the layout of the race, is you know, we had seen 45 lap stages. Now we have 55 laps to go. So while the Sunoco fuel can make it 55 laps, you're going to have to ask these young drivers to manage those tires. This is the skill set that we just don't see as much as we used to. Back in your and my days, right, in the mid-90s, early 2000s, there were a lot of tracks that I had to ask you as a driver, buddy, you got to save the tires. I can't help you as a crew chief. Now we're going to ask these young drivers to.
Yeah, you've got your setup that you have to deal with there. So as a driver, yeah, you can go out and blast off and you can abuse the tires and run some really fast laps. Feels fun, maybe pass a few cars, but you're going to pay the price at the end. And especially with this longer segment here to finish the race off, they're going to have to decide, okay, I'm going to give up a little bit to make sure that I'm good at the end.
See Justin Allgaier back on the racetrack. Parker, he went to the garage area. I wonder if our man Parker found anything out about the 7. Obviously, they had some sort of mechanical issue that was hurting the tire wear, I assume. That's why they went to the garage.
Steve, I did. It was the upper control arm bolt. Excuse me. So I'm not technical like you. I'm going to let you explain that one, what the problem was. But
if it,
yeah.
Well, what can happen is, if it's not tight and the shims come out, the right front is going to gain a ton of camber, and the car is going to get lower. If it broke, same thing. If it bent, same thing. So it could have been a mechanical failure. It could have been perhaps a part breaking. It could have been just human error. But either way, an upper control arm is basically, for the fans at home, part of the upper suspension. It's important. It controls how much tip is in that tire, how much camber. And if you have an issue there, it will make it. I know this because upper control arm bolt, Rick, I tightened at Bristol one day, ran 496 laps. You know the problem?
It was a 500-lap race.
It was a 500-lap race.
Yeah.
So with about 3 to go, we had issues.
Well, nobody wants to point fingers.
I said if it went 490-something laps, it had to be a failure. Yeah. There's no way the thing could just all of a sudden come loose after that far.
Well, I know that the Cup drivers who are watching right now don't want to have any issues like this tomorrow when the playoffs kick off from right here at Darlington Raceway. Can't wait to get the playoffs underway. Again, that will kick off at 6 Eastern on NBCSN. And a special treat. Did you know, Steve, that the Earnhardts, Pettys, and Jarretts have combined to win 17% of all Cup races and 28% of all Cup championships? Did you know that number?
I did, actually.
So because of that, we're going to have an Earnhardt, a Petty, and a Jarrett call the second stage of the race tomorrow.
And the only reason is because the person who gave that great information, you gave it to me ahead of time. That's the only reason I knew it, because I was amazed like you by those numbers. DJ, it's going to be a blast. I'm going to take stage 2 off tomorrow night and sit back and listen. It's going to be so much fun.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, but I'll speak for the 3 of us, for KP and for Dale Jr. and myself, and I'll say thank you, dads. We appreciate what you did for us.
That's right. Oh. The sons of greats, and obviously you and DJ, or Dale Jr., Hall of Famers. So definitely impressive careers. Marty, what's happening with the 98 in Briscoe?
Well, remember the warning they got on the last restart. The team chatted about this coming restart a moment ago. Take a listen.
Official said something last time about our restart. Just maintain your pace car pace there the whole time. Not sure, I didn't see anything wrong with it, but just making you aware. Same RPM, and they were all shoving me.
Yeah,
and DJ, I thought, you guys brought up a great point earlier. Now that's in that young driver's head. You got to wonder if that's going to affect him on this restart with Denny Hamlin sitting in row 2.
Yeah, that's hard enough at starting here and not thinking about spinning, or thinking about spinning the tires, not doing that. He's got something else to be concerned with here. He doesn't want to lose this lead.
All right, so they said maintain your speed. So now that the pace car pulled off, we're going to See, as long it seems to be pretty consistent to me. I don't see a lot of brace checking, but the only option is to compare him to the other side of the front row.
Yeah, the 10 of Ross Chastain, he can't go before the 98 in that restart zone. And right there, Ross Chastain, another great restart. Will Briscoe be able to hold him off for the lead? And again, the 54 of Denny Hamlin right there running in third. Final stage underway. 52 laps remaining in this race.
So now it goes back to that management conversation. We see the 98 of Briscoe leading, the 10 of Chastain, and then the 54 of Hamlin. And you see pressure on the rear bumper of Hamlin's car. DJ, I don't know. I feel like that's by design, right? He's just backing up and being patient.
Exactly, yes. And Brandon Jones would be really smart right now to hang on to Denny Hamlin's bumper, learn what he can, and realize what it's like to save your tires for the end of a run. But Brandon Jones had a great segment, a great stage there in stage 2. His car was really good.
Steve, fuel an issue? 54 laps, can everybody make it on fuel?
No, if you could run 54 fast laps, you'd be fine, but they'll slow down so much that I believe they'll have enough fuel in the tank. It's close, but you're just out of the gas so much on old tires.
Gosh, you don't, yeah, fuel's the least of your concern as a driver. It's like, I need tires before then. Give me some more.
Ford, Chevy, Toyota, 1, 2, 3 right now. And you look at the stage points earned. Ross Chastain earning the most, finishing up inside the top 10 in both stages. Chase Briscoe as well. Brandon Jones, Austin Cindric, all gaining more than 10 points.
Just watch the exit of turns 2 and 4 and watch Denny Hamlin in that 54 car about how much straighter his car is on the exit of these corners and the speed that he carries there. He turns it down. He's not having to turn the wheel. He just does such an outstanding job of keeping that momentum and the RPMs up in these cars.
You know, and as we see Denny Hamlin go to the inside of Ross, I don't expect Ross just to give this up. He's going to make Denny work a little bit. In the end, though, the 54 will clear. I want the fans to understand these tires, Rick, you know, they only have so much life in them. And if you slide a tire, even correct the car, just one slide, car's back going straight, everything's fine. That is a little bit of life that you have taken out of that tire. You're never going to get back. It's gone. It's like a block of cheese. And every time you ride it across that cheese grater, less cheese is on the block. And then finally you get down to that fabric and you have issues like Justin Allgaier has had.
Yeah, we saw it with the 7. A little bobble there out of Denny Hamlin. A rare mistake as he was down low where the banking changes here at Darlington. But right now, Denny Hamlin running second to Briscoe as a battle here. Brandon Jones is going to take a spot away from Ross Chastain. And then Chastain comes right back up. He's going to get into the rear quarter panel. He's not. Jones is going to be able to hang on. But look at how tight this is. So Chastain has dropped back to the 4th spot now.
Oh, trouble for the 51 of Jeremy Clements. This is a big situation when it comes to points. We've covered Brandon Brown in that 68, had an issue earlier. He's currently 12th in points, with a 51 currently 13th in points, and I don't believe he's going to make it back. He's sitting on the racetrack. There it is. The caution's out after just a handful of laps. They've only run 7 laps this run.
But Steve, again, a limited amount of tires. So you guys are both saying, hey, give me tires. But you have to think about this, okay, if you have a set, do you come and take them this early?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, the team should all have 2 sets of tires left in their pits. There's 46 laps to go in the race. Whew, I would have to come get tires right here. These tires you take off with 7 laps on them, you can put back on later if you need. DJ, I just think you cannot be wrong. You cannot not come to pit road now and then get that long run. We've seen tire wear be an issue. I think you have to come get the tires right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. There'd be very few drivers out there in these cars that would argue. If you say come get tires, yeah, absolutely.
Car's on autopilot. Yes, I'm coming.
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right, let's check back in with Jeff Burton.
Hey guys, the tour continues. I've now worked my way to turn 4. And you guys are talking about tire wear. A lot of that tire wear happens right here because you can see, and Dale Jarrett knows this, you can see how it's almost a straightaway between 3 and 4, but then you have to make a second turn to get off the corner to get on the front straightaway. And that's where a lot of those tires get abused. That's where they get worn out. So you guys have been talking about it. Taking it easy early in the run can be big But later in the run, you could go get 100% because you've saved a little bit. But finding out a way to save tires off of turn 4 can have a huge amount of impact on whether you can win this race or not. Marty.
Hey, Jeff, because they're pushing Jeremy Clements on pit road, it is still closed. And Richard Boswell and Chase Briscoe right now having a discussion about whether or not they should come down pit road. Yes, Steve, they have 2 sets of tires left, but Boswell's point is that puts us in a box with only 1 set of tires left later in the race. With 7 laps here, green, I'd rather stay out. So right now the 98 thinking they're going to stay out, but this is a really tough decision. You would think after 7 laps it'd be a no-brainer, stay out, but Darlington wears these tires so quickly, it is an actual decision for these crew chiefs right now whether or not to come down pit road.
Well, and the toughest part about pit strategy is if the 98 stays out and everyone stays out, great call. If the 98 stays out and everyone else pits, same call for the 98, bad decision. And that's really the challenge. As the leader, that's where you want to be, but it's the toughest place for this decision because if the 98 stays out and I'm Denny Hamlin, I'm probably coming to pit road, DJ, and seeing if I can drag everybody with me.
Oh, there's no doubt. And I'm just going to tell you, whenever I was there and we were getting ready to go qualify, I told my guys to be careful pushing my car out to pit road for qualifying. That's how much tires meant. I didn't even want them turning the wheel any more than they had to there. So I think that you have to come get this and do whatever you can. Let's listen in and see what Denny Hamlin and his team are talking about.
There might be some comfort tires here, but I think with just 5 green flag laps, we needed 20 laps to split even. I think we're safe to stay.
Well, we'll see if it works out. It's decision time. The 98 decides. 54, it's really a split field. 4, 5 stay out, 6 stay out, 6 hit pit road. Oh, it is going to be exciting to see how this works out.
Marty.
Rick, this is going to be fun to watch. Chase Briscoe coming down pit road, Harrison Burton coming down pit road as well, and some of the faster cars of the day are really coming down pit road here. They're going to have fresher tires, but to Richard Boswell's point earlier, Noah Gragson back there pulling into his stall, they're going to be just with 1 set of tires left, while everybody else in the field will not have 2 sets of tires left. Harrison Burton going 4 fresh Goodyear tires here. The car's been a little bit too loose, and same for Chase Briscoe going with 4 fresh Goodyear tires. So valuable here at Darlington. We'll see what happens with 43 laps to go. Some pitting, some staying out on the racetrack. Drama building here in the final stage for the Xfinity Series at Darlington.
Coming back to the green, the restart here at Darlington. How will Chase Briscoe make his way up with the fresh Goodyear tires? He's on the right side of your screen. And Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain fighting for the lead. Hamlin's going to take it away from Chastain.
So much action. Hamlin leads, but you saw the 98 of Briscoe easily passing 2 or 3 cars. He kind of needs to get him early when those tires are new.
There he is, stalking, coming back into the screen. Anthony Alfredo in the 21. The next one he's going after.
That was 6 cars in 1 lap, so that's pretty good average. It's obviously going to get a little more difficult here. I really like this decision to get tires there.
I really do too, DJ. Here's why. 40 laps to go. This thing could easily go green to the end. We have not seen a lot of yellows, an early accident, and an electrical issue on the 51 in a couple stages. So these tires, they're better because they're new, but they're going to continue to be better. As the leaders wear their tires, this 98's advantage will continue. The only advantage the leaders have is they have 2 sets in their pits, but they're going to need 2 yellows to put them on as he pushes Justin
Briscoe.
Haley like, hey man, let's go. I need you out of the way. I got to use these brand new tires.
Boxed in, couldn't go anywhere. He's like, come on guys, get out of my way.
If we get another quick caution, these guys are going to come, so.
Boy, +8 for Chase Briscoe since the restart. It's fun, DJ, when you have on these brand new tires, isn't it, as he tries to pass Austin Cindric for 4th. But Timmy Fedewa, his spotter, the veteran spotter, who also spots for Kevin Harvick on Sunday, said, listen, I know you're going to want to go as hard as you can go, but save me some tires. For this reason, a caution back out, and you know everybody else is going to come down pit road.
07 of David Starr back behind the wheel, the Texas native. Brings out the caution. And Steve, you mentioned not many cautions. There were 3 cautions, 1 for a competition caution, 1 for the end of stage 1, 1 for the end of stage 2, and then 2 for issues. And now this is just the 3rd one for issues on the racetrack, and includes David Starr.
You know what I always say about stats? They're going to tell you one thing, and stats here say that we're going to get a short run to the end, but I don't know. I liked where those guys were at. Really, the concern now is, what does everybody else do? Because if you're Hamlin now and you pit, you only have even half the advantage, just a 4-lap advantage on tires. So we'll have to see what happened to this the 07 of David Starr. Had some pretty good contact and some damage on the right side. I call that just a little Darlington help.
Yeah. Brandon Jones in the 19 there. You see up the racetrack already into the wall was David Starr, right front down.
Or at least broken.
Yeah.
I can't tell if it is air or not.
Actually, it does have air in it, but it broke.
Yeah, and you know the racing is going to ramp up here, so the likelihood of getting another caution is going to be there.
We see the AMR safety team here on track.
So the struggle for Denny Hamlin, Rick, is he's still leading the race. And I know Briscoe has made his way up inside the top 5.
11th. I think we need to come get him here.
Yeah.
There you have it. Denny Hamlin, he made a point to agree quickly. Jeff.
I think that's the right call here, guys. The big thing, though, is they had 7 laps on their tires, right? And they were competing against guys with new tires. The guys that put tires on earlier are only going to have about 3 laps on theirs. So I think an advantage for those guys that pitted earlier. And there's going to be quite a few people that the leaders are going, the new leaders are going to have to, have between them and the guys that put on tires. So I think a smart move by those guys to stop early and put tires on.
Rick, there are days that I miss sitting on top of the pit box, and this is absolutely not one of those days, because these guys here are trying to do what's best for, and there's no wrong answer. What do I always say? You tell me, DJ, when the yellows will come out, I'll tell you when we should pit.
Yeah, but Denny Hamlin and his team have to come now, because you would not want to lose this race with 2 sets of tires sitting in the pits.
Not with Denny Hamlin in my race car.
No.
I mean, at some point, we talked to Chris Gabehart this week about, that's Denny Hamlin's Cup crew chief, about what they've learned together. And he admitted that last Miami, they made a mistake trying too hard. There was a moment in time he should have just let his driver be the star. Well, you know what? This is that same opportunity, right? If you're Jacob Cantor, the crew chief of this 54 car, you have to say, you know what? We have the fastest car. We have the fastest driver. Let's not be too creative. Let's put some tires on this thing and let Denny Hamlin be Denny Hamlin. His numbers here are outstanding. Let's see if he can pull it off.
We see Noah Gragson in that 9 car, and Unilever, United for America, on board. They've been helping communities across America that have been hardest hit by COVID-19, tackling major challenges like access to food, essential supplies, you know, partnering with United for the Carolinas and Food Lion to make a $500,000 product donation to Harvest Hope Food Bank in Darlington. So additional donations if the 9-team wins today's race. Let's go back to pit road to Parker.
And you guys talked about it. Jacob Cantor, when that yellow came out, immediately said, we are pitting here for Denny Hamlin, that 54 car. Very happy. Just an air pressure adjustment in 4 tires. Brandon Jones in the middle of your screen having an excellent run. Same situation, just an air pressure adjustment, Marty.
Ross Chastain vetoed pitting last time, and he said, you know what? I see the 98 is already up here with us, so I'll do whatever you guys tell me this time. The call was to come to pit road, 4 fresh Goodyear tires. They've been struggling in the early part of the run. See if they can gain some spots here, though, with these 4 fresh tires.
Intensity beginning to ramp up. It'll be 33 to go when we come back for the restart, maybe even under that. We'll see if these fresh tires make a difference. Can Denny Hamlin get back up there? Under 33 laps to go in the Sport Clips Haircuts VFW 200 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series from Darlington. So that means it is going to be a sprint to the finish. You're going to have more coverage on NBCSports.com for post-race coverage. And of course, coming up next, the 146th Kentucky Derby from Churchill Downs. All right, so as we come down to 33 laps to go and we get the restart, Steve, DJ, the question was, do you come for tires earlier or later? Is it going to make a difference for Denny Hamlin?
Well, I think at this point, everyone has put on at least one of their final 2 sets. Some have a little bit fresher tires. Denny Hamlin seems to have the best car. He's lost some track position, but now he has new tires. So, DJ, in my mind, we've seen turns 1 and 2 be so difficult for everyone. It's going to come down to the first 2 or 3 laps. He's going to have to be clean on this restart.
Yeah, as long as nothing happens that's going to collect him in it, Denny Hamlin's going to go to the front and win this race. You got the best driver and maybe the best car with the freshest tires. We're getting ready to see just how fast this 54 car is.
I do want to remind you, though, that the 98 of Chase Briscoe was able to beat Kyle Busch, who is the best ever as far as most wins ever in the series. He was able to do it earlier this year. Can he do it against Denny Hamlin? Jeff.
Hey, DJ, one thing I want to say as a driver right now, the one thing I don't have to worry about is saving tires, right? We're coming to it. We got a short run here. Just go get you some. It's Darlington. Go make it happen right now.
Isn't that what you'd like to hear?
That's a great point, yeah.
Go get you some.
Let it hang out now.
We're about to see it.
Old tires on the front row, though. I know they're not very old, but very hard to accelerate with worn tires. Could spin them.
Cleanly through 1 and 2, and Briscoe shoots out turn number 2 in front of Ryan Segan, that 39. Then it's Harrison Burton in the 20 behind them, and the fight is on for position a little further back.
Yeah, we forgot to mention, the 54 did come get tires, but he did not win the race off pit road. That 10 of Ross Chastain did, so he's in front of Hamlin on the freshest tires. That puts him in front of this group as Hamlin tries to attack.
Yeah, that corner right there really hurt his progress. You can see he went into turn 3 wide, wasn't able to make all of that work. Look at this aggressive move.
And some smoke out of the 0-2 of Brett Moffitt. We'll have to see if that continues.
Yeah, and if he's putting any fluid down on the racetrack. Austin Cindric's by him in the 22. Mike Lynette also passed in the 1. And slow on the racetrack. They're trying to get him down. Will he go right in front of the pack? Moffitt, an experienced race car driver, normally runs in the truck series, and around goes, oh, we got an issue with the 98 of Briscoe, who is out front.
Yeah, he spun into turn 1, sideways for the leader.
Tire or something. Yeah, 21 just wrecked.
We mentioned the possibility of fluid on the racetrack. Maybe that's what happened.
Had to be.
We saw the 0-2 smoking for almost a lap, and then the next trip down to turn 1, the 98 of Chase Briscoe, backwards into the corner. He mentioned he thought it was a tire. Best I can tell, I'll look up. Well, the right front might be down, but I don't know if that was pre or post spin.
We see that flap, the hood flap that is over, and a lot of the damage to the right rear. Potentially some fluid on the racetrack.
So you see right here the 0-2, he's trying to get down. As he crosses, see if anything comes on this camera right here. Oh yeah. There's no doubt the 0-2 is putting fluid on the racetrack. So that was perhaps the issue with grip, because then as we go down into turn 1, the 98, he goes down to turn 1 expecting the grip. The fluid's probably on the racetrack. Around he goes into the wall.
Oh. That's all too familiar to me, because in 1996, we were there to try to win $1 million, and was leading the race, and the car in front of me lost an oil line, and I hit that oil going in there, and we had sat on the pole and leading. So there's just nothing you can do as a driver. It's the worst feeling in the world, and know exactly what Chase Briscoe's feeling right now.
You see the rear bumper cover, how it was, the white had turned brown. That's from the oil or fluid on there. Unfortunately, this is why nothing's guaranteed in NASCAR, because the 98 had the lead, catches just some fluid into turn 1 and has an accident. Marty.
Go here, let's go.
As Tim Fita was saying, hey, we need to go here, and Chase just said it just went on him. They're going to put on these scuff tires, meaning they ran a little bit earlier in the race, have a handful of laps on them. Chase Briscoe barely beating the pace truck back out there. But yeah, you don't often see the leader wreck on his own. Today you saw it here at Darlington.
They're going to have to come back. We saw the tire changer. He tightened the 3 lug nuts there, but obviously they want to do some work to the right rear of this car to make sure everything's okay.
Yeah, they're just trying to get back around the racetrack to come back in, try not to lose a lap.
So unfortunate for Chase Briscoe and the others that were caught up in this. Anthony Alfredo in the 21 saw him going the wrong direction. Matt Mills in the 99 also was involved.
And it's gotten exciting in the last few laps. We went, as you and I both talked about, just not a lot of yellows.
Yeah.
And now, yellows for multiple reasons.
So they're going to work on the 02 there of Moffitt. We had seen smoke and fluid coming out from behind that, but they haven't lifted the hood to check if there was something underneath the hood that was an issue. So the 98 of Chase Briscoe leading the race at Darlington gets into fluid, and around he goes. From the track too tough to tame to the action track. Next weekend, that's Richmond Raceway. Short track racing. The Xfinity Series is going to get it started Friday night with the first of two on their doubleheader weekend. And coverage beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern. A little water break here. Red flag out so they can clean the track. And let's take another look as Ross Chastain was going to throw water on us. This is how the O2 looks like he has the damage that started the fluid.
That white O2 right there. Watch him. He's going to make contact with the 18 right here, hit the wall. And why I wouldn't think that would cause a mechanical issue, it obviously does, because at this point you see the haze, smoke, which we now know is fluid out the back of the 02. So that contact with the wall, DJ, must have had some sort of mechanical effect.
Yeah, you weren't thinking that little bit of a contact, but you could see here, as we ride along with Brandon Jones, that he could see everything that's going on here in front of him, has to slow down. But that's just something, there's so little put down there that as a driver, you really can't see that. You see the dark spot on the track, but you're having no idea because of all the tire rubber that's down on the track. And unfortunately, Chase Briscoe was the first one at really high speed to go in there and find out there was oil on the track. Jeff, we've both been in situations like this.
Well, I was just thinking about you, DJ, how, we talked earlier about turn one and how difficult it is. And the only way to run this corner is with full commitment. You got to drive in here just all on the gas, lift just a little bit, and then go right back to the throttle. You're not any way in the world thinking there's not going to be the grip that you've had all day. And I think there probably could be no worse place as far as corner entry at this racetrack than turn one for oil to be down.
So they're putting the speedy dry down and trying to get as much of the fluid, all of the fluid they can off of the track, as we just saw what it will do to a race car at speed. But while they're under a red flag condition, what do you think about dialing up the driver of the 54 and seeing how Denny's doing?
All right. Hey, Denny, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
Good for.
Hey, man, looks like I know it's extremely hot in there right now. Appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. You run this race for a reason. You love Darlington, but it also gets you a little bit of time on this track, and looks like you've got a really fast car there today.
Yeah, it is, and Gordon and those guys at Sport Clips always give me a ride for this thing. I actually like running Xfinity. But about one a year is what I get, and I try to take advantage when that's the case. So, yeah, the car's been good pretty much all day. Just got to keep our track position. If we can do that, I think we're going to be fine.
I know that you've had to come from, you came from the very rear to begin the race. Then later on, you came from outside the top 10 in stage 2 to get your way back to the front. Have you shown everything this car has in it yet?
I mean, I haven't pushed it really hard yet. I just kind of pace myself. No matter what happens with stages, I want to win lap 147. So, if I'm behind coming to that, I'll give it all it's got. But I think it's risk versus reward at this track. You can really push it up against the wall, but you're going to risk, getting damage, and I haven't needed that yet.
So you've got a few young guys in front of you, and one in Ross Chastain, who we know his aggressive nature on the track and looking to get that first win. As you size up those three cars in front of you, what are your thoughts here in these last 20 laps?
Yeah, I think Ross, we're on equal tires here, so he'll be pretty tough. But, I think once we get strung out, I think we're strong enough to handle it, but we just got to get going here, and hopefully the cautions don't fall where you can kind of lose this thing on strategy.
All right, Denny, good luck. Thanks for talking, man.
Yeah, boy.
Let's take a look at the Toyota driver update. Denny piloting one of those Toyotas in the field today. Harrison Burton currently the highest running Toyota in second. Then it's Denny in fourth, Riley Herbst fifth, Brandon Jones in seventh.
So, Rick, I was very impressed with Harrison when he came here in May, had never run at Darlington, ended up in the top 10 with no practice and no qualifying. But now to come back and be sitting in second, DJ, I have to kind of ask, is this like a hereditary thing at Darlington, or did Jeff Burton give them the famed notebook that we've all been looking for?
Yeah, that we would all love to have had. But Harrison, He's just so smooth. He reminds me so much of his dad, Jeff, and the way that he drives and goes about things. And that's exactly, you see different styles be able to win here. Harry Gant was one of those. David Pearson, I mentioned, being really smooth. And then you had Earnhardt and a few others that really attacked this place and made the way that they went about it. But Harrison's done an outstanding job in these races here and has put himself in a great spot here this afternoon.
A young driver, but a very high driver IQ. What I mean by that is a lot of time in late models, a lot of time being at the racetrack, watching Dale Jarrett's, watching Jeff Burton's. His racing IQ is through the roof.
Just 19 years old and learning every race. Again, coming up next on NBC will be the 146th Kentucky Derby, and that's followed by NHL Game 7, Stanley Cup playoffs, Islanders Flyers.
Yeah, well, gosh, what an evening that is there.
It
looked like the Islanders had that wrapped up. I think they were up 3-1 now. Got to go to Game 7.
You can never take your foot off the gas. Doesn't matter the sport. When you have an advantage, you better stick with it.
We'll see if someone uses that same strategy here today for this Xfinity Series race. Marty?
Hey, Rick, 3 races to go before the playoffs start here in the Xfinity Series. And today we have been watching this cut line, especially when Brandon Brown, the man who's in the playoffs, was in a wreck on lap 2, and it has tightened up considerably. But paint scheme-wise, Brandon honoring Janet Guthrie, who's the first female to race in the Daytona 500 and the Indianapolis 500. She made 33 career Cup Series starts, and her lone Darlington appearance came in 1977 in the Southern 500. She finished 16th in that race today. Brandon making her proud, rallying again after that accident on lap 2. Currently, he is the first car 1 lap down, 1 more caution. He gets that free pass for Brandon Brown, and that can be a big difference maker for that 68 car.
What a rally, as we already mentioned. I thought when I saw the damage, this was going to be, lights out for the 68 and their playoff chances, but it's been anything but. They're doing a nice job of recovering from that early issue.
Yeah, how about that small team making all of those repairs? And Brandon, as a driver too, you know your car's not going to be as fun to drive as what you wanted it to be because of all that, but you're battling to stay in there in the playoffs right now. Jeremy Clements having problems, that's certainly helping, so he's actually been able to widen this margin from where the race started today.
Marty mentioned the free pass. Actually, it's going to go to Brandon Brown. They hadn't announced it yet under the red flag condition, but anytime a caution comes out, the highest scored lap down car gets a lap back. And so right now, Brandon Brown in that position will get a lap back, and he'll be on the lead lap now. That'll put 20 cars back on the lead lap. Again, Ryan Sieg leading this race. Harrison Burton is currently scored second. Ross Chastain, Denny Hamlin, Riley Herbst, all a part of the top 5.
So Danny mentioned equal tires. The front 2 cars of Sieg and Harrison Burton have a couple laps longer than Chastain and Hamlin. Hamlin's tires are much newer. So DJ, the question I have is, we talked to Hamlin. We heard what he said, but what did we really hear there? Because I heard a driver that said, well, I haven't completely pushed it. Maybe there's a little left. And what he said is, hey, I just want this thing to run out. I don't want a bunch of yellows. This cycle you see right here, 104, 112, 104, that's really jumbled up the field. He wants this last 27 to go pretty much straight through so he can just go out there and do his thing.
Yeah, he knows what he's got, and he knows that, it's not going to be just a walk to the front of it here because he's got to deal with Harrison Burton and Ross Chastain. Ryan Sieg up there with a damaged car early on in that second lap incident, but he's doing a great job there. But Denny Hamlin knows exactly what he has. He just doesn't want opportunities on restarts for people to be able to get to his bumper to make a difference in this. So if it just plays out, the best driver is going to be able to take care of things. But that's a lot to ask.
It is a lot to ask. We see Cindric will come to pit road for some damage. He also mentioned, the restarts can be important. I mean, there's a lot of laps left, but he knows Chastain is going to be difficult. So he wants to try to either attack him early or follow him through traffic and then get single file. You got to kind of figure out if you're on offense or defense. And Denny Hamlin's been, I think, on offense all day. I'm not sure he's been on defense yet.
Can it be called a cautious offense, though? Because he said he hasn't been pushing it. He's only put whatever level he needed to get to the front.
I always call it educated offense.
Educated, okay.
Like, you can't be cautious, but you can be educated. You know, as a race car driver, where things can work and where things can't work. So, Bert, you said it was exciting to be at the racetrack. How have those restarts been from at the track?
Well, they're getting ready to get more exciting. I can tell you that. This last restart, something to think about here is that you're launching on old tires. So the field typically today has been launching on sticker tires. And when you go to accelerate, the rear tires are going to spin way worse on the older tires than they do on new sticker tires. So how the front row can get launched, and then every row back, you can lose this race before you ever get to turn 1 on this restart. You've got to get it right, and you've got to get it right as soon as you start accelerating. If not, you will lose your opportunity to get this win.
So, Jeff, your son's sitting there in second. We know that Ryan Sieg's probably going to take the outside as the leader of this race. Where would you tell Harrison to line up?
Yeah, I think I'd go on the inside. I think I would do whatever he doesn't do because of what's behind me. Like, I'm thinking about winning. I don't want to give somebody with better tires the open lane where they can get right next to Chastain. I'd rather keep them bottled up behind me, see if I can get the pass done on the 39 car rather than giving a clear lane with new tires.
It's funny you asked Jeff that, DJ, because I was getting ready to ask you. We have heard Denny Hamlin say that he just moves up as high as he can. Simple as that. He doesn't care. As far forward as he can go, he goes.
Yeah.
So does that mean first and second take inside and outside? Chastain takes the top. You expect Denny Hamlin to take the bottom?
100%. He's got more room to maneuver there and decide where he wants to go once they get off of turn 2 from that point.
So if you're Ross Chastain, do you dare give Denny Hamlin the bottom? 3 wide off turn 2, Rick, and Denny Hamlin could be the leader.
Well, we're going to come back for that restart, and we will decide where they're going to line up. Who will choose which lane? When we come back, we'll find out.
Lug nuts. Tighten lug nuts.
Because of that red flag, it's going to push this race a little bit further into the window that was opened up for the Xfinity Series. So the conclusion of the Xfinity Series race from Darlington at 2:28. We will move over to NBCSN. You won't want to miss the final 20 laps of this race. Going to be exciting. Ryan Sieg, Harrison Burton about ready to make their decision as to which lane they want to restart. And again, coming up 2:30 will be the Kentucky Derby from Churchill Downs.
Just so impressed with Ryan Sieg and this race team that to come back. I mean, we saw that car spinning on that second lap off of turn 2 over there. You saw the damage. You see all the tape that's on this car, everything that they had to do to get it ready. Just incredible to watch him drive. And he was running extremely well, hanging right with Chase Briscoe before that caution came out.
Yeah, that's what's really impressed me. You mentioned all the recoveries and all that. I kind of thought, I don't want to say that they strategy their way to the front, but they got up there. I was wrong. He's driven his way up there. I mean, that car is faster than I gave it credit. He stuck with Chase Briscoe until Chase Briscoe had his issue with the oil. You mentioned Briscoe. He's currently still on the racetrack trying to make laps in 17th. He'll try to nurse the damaged car to the finish. Another update is the 22 of Austin Cindric pitted, so he's back in 18th. So there's going to be action everywhere for the last 20 laps or so.
Yeah, the two favorites of the regular Xfinity drivers with Briscoe and Cindric winning their races this year, both having some issues here, but they'll have to navigate some traffic here as we're going to get started with close to 20 laps to go.
You mentioned Ryan Sieg. that small team. You know, Ryan Sieg actually built rooms above the shop so that the commuters that would come from Charlotte to work on his team, which is based in Georgia, would have a place to stay during the week while they worked on the car before they would go to the racetrack. So that's a commitment by a small team to get the best in the business that had been coming from the Charlotte area to drive there, and then, you know, they spend a couple nights there in the shop working on the car and then head to the racetrack. Again, I'm going to remind you that the conclusion of this Xfinity Series race from Darlington is going to be on NBCSN. So you can have that opportunity to switch over. It will be, the restart will be on NBCSN, as we're seeing the teams taking and choosing their lane for the restart here at Darlington. So again, coming up next on NBCSN, the restart from Darlington. Again, coming up next here on NBC will be the Kentucky Derby.
All right, we had a lot of conversation about the choose.
All right, a reminder, when we go green, make sure to join us on NBCSN for the conclusion of this Xfinity Series race. The pace truck is off. 21 laps to go from Darlington as they come to the restart. Again, Ryan Sieg, Harrison Burton, they make up row number 1. Head to NBCSN. And a great restart for the 39 of Ryan Sieg. Those of you on NBCSN that are joining us, again, just 21 laps now, counting down from Darlington for the Xfinity Series. It has been a Denny Hamlin-dominated race, but cautions late have put him back to 3rd. We'll see if in 20 laps he can get up and get past Ross Chastain and Ryan Sieg.
Yeah, Ross Chastain with a little bit better tires than Ryan Sieg easily makes short work of the 39 car. It's really that red and white number 54 of Denny Hamlin, the 3rd place car. That is the one that Ross Chastain, the leader, is going to have to look for in the mirror, DJ.
Yeah, Ross was really aggressive there, and that was of utmost importance if he's going to have any chance of racing Denny Hamlin here for this win. He needed to get out front and be in control of this race.
Ross's history at this racetrack, we heard earlier in the broadcast, Marty mentioned Ross used the bumper to move Kevin Harvick out of the way, trying to win the race here at Darlington. He's not afraid to do that, even running against some of the best in the Cup Series, and right now he has just one of the best right behind him, and Denny Hamlin trying to fight him off for the lead.
Well, you see Hamlin got a little bit sideways there right in the middle of turn 3. Cost him a little bit of time. You can see that car really slide. Looks like he might have hit one of the seams with the right side tire.
Well, if Ross Chastain does want to go to victory lane, he's going to have to beat the best in the field and the best here at Darlington. You've already mentioned, Rick, 5 wins in this field for Denny Hamlin. 1 win for the rest of the field. He has 5 times the win of the rest of the field. Ross Chastain, 3 seconds this year alone. Can he hold off Denny Hamlin in the closing laps?
Now, I noticed Ross changing his line a little bit. Even more pronounced there was that taking that high line into turn 3 right against the wall, trying to keep the speed up as much as possible. Denny gained a little bit on that lap, though.
How difficult? Obviously, Ross Chastain is going to make it the most difficult to try to get by. But Denny Hamlin, when we talked to him on the radio under the red flag conditions, said, I've done just what I needed to run up there and get by these guys. What does he have in the tank to get by Ross Chastain for the win?
Well, I think he has speed in the car, and the big challenge for Ross Chastain, it's a cliche, but you still have to race this racetrack. It's too tough to tame for a reason. This is not a Sunday drive leading the race. He has to worry about the car behind DJ and the track.
Yeah, but you can't be looking in the mirror right now. There's enough to do. You have to get every bit of the speed. These are all almost qualifying laps. We're not talking about saving any tires here right now. It's everything you can get out of this car, and that requires all of your attention. Don't worry about where Denny is. Let them tell you on the radio when he gets closer.
And DJ, remember how bad Ross Chastain wants this last week. Final lap at Daytona. He spun his teammate, A.J. Allmendinger, for the win. He wants this one at Darlington today. Redemption for last week, Rick.
0.2 of a second faster that time was Denny Hamlin than Ross Chastain. Will he be able to hold off the 5-time winner here at Darlington in Denny Hamlin?
It is going to be a tall task just because of the experience. Forget the speed, the experience. The man behind him has so many laps here. He has a book of knowledge of how to complete the pass. The question is, can Ross just do what he needs to do and make it difficult?
Only 3 times has Ross finished outside the top 10 this season. He has been that good, that consistent. The problem is no wins in the win column yet for that 10 and Ross Chastain. And right now, Denny Hamlin about to pounce.
Yeah, you can see Denny trying different things, just trying to figure out exactly where it is that he can make this pass to set this up.
Just he looks so patient back there, runs the bottom, doesn't slide the tires, gets to the inside. I don't think it'll hold. Oh, he's going to hold the inside line. It's going to be a drag race to turn 1.
Yeah, this could get really interesting right here. Ross is going to drive it in hard to try to keep Denny down there.
Up the racetrack comes a 54. Almost contact. They're fighting for the lead here at Darlington. Ross Chastain stays in front.
Well, a great job by Ross Chastain right there, doing everything he can to keep Denny behind him.
Let's get red eye, coach him up.
Denny Hamlin trying to push the 10 of Chastain into a mistake. 13 laps to go.
Now 12.
I think you're going to see an attack on corner exit this time, DJ. It didn't work on entrance to 1. Can he get the run here off turn 2? Here it comes.
Getting him loose right there is all he was wanting to do. Make him stay out of that throttle a little bit longer. Ross hangs on for the time being.
One thing going on here too, guys, is Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain. You think about it. Denny doesn't know Ross Chastain as well as some other drivers. He's got to figure Ross Chastain out. And we know that Ross Chastain is going to be very aggressive. He is not going to give him an inch. But every time in the turn 1, I'm standing down here, Denny just tries to get closer and closer to him, get that air off that spoiler, and get him loosened up.
Just as good as he is.
Denny Hamlin up into the wall.
A big mistake. We were talking about a mistake out of Chastain. Well, it was Hamlin who made the mistake.
So Hamlin gets into the wall. A little tire smoke there as he tagged the wall through 1 and 2. Now sideways is the 10. Ross Chastain hanging on as the right rear quarter panel tags the wall.
Wow.
Head down, keep hitting your marks.
10 laps to go.
These guys can be thankful these composite bodies will take that a little bit better than on these Xfinity cars than the Cup cars. But how about the effort that both of these drivers are giving right now?
Signature exit for Denny Hamlin. You mentioned the effort right there, that high exit off turn 2. The momentum gets carried into turn 3. Denny, I'm sure, furious about getting into the wall a lap ago. Rick wants to overcome it, wants to go get the win for his team.
Coming up on 9 laps now. And about a car length separating the top 2. Chastain with a little mistake, but it was after the 54 of Hamlin had made a mistake. Now Hamlin, that higher line, the momentum, he looks to the left. Chastain not giving up an inch.
Well, that's a huge slide by Ross Chastain off of turn 2, but somehow he stayed in the throttle to keep Denny behind him.
He accelerates in that high line through 3 and 4. Now just 8 laps remaining.
The question now is a pretty good clear track in front of these 2 cars. The 44 is out there, though. You see him. Where will Chastain catch that 44, and will it hurt his chances?
Chastain a little bit lower exit from the turn. Does that allow Denny Hamlin to get to the inside? He's going to go to the bottom of the track. Will he slide up? He does it. Chastain able to get in the gas quicker.
Oh, but now Chastain knows he is there. The 44 does a nice job, pulls out of the way. Classy move, lets the leaders go.
This is where Denny wants to really get Ross loose. Not to the point of him wrecking. You can see how Denny now can turn his car to the bottom, try to make this. Still not able to work. Ross is just driving the hell out of this car.
Ross doesn't know where the attacks are coming from. Denny runs up high, then he runs down low. Now he's in his tire tracks.
Oh, into the wall again. Tagging the wall just slightly is the 10 of Ross Chastain. Denny a little loose coming out of 4. 6 laps to go.
We'll see again. Chastain's been running low. Now he runs high. The 54 goes low. What kind of exit will the 54 have? Will he stay up by the wall? No, he'll turn low, get in the gas. Look at the run for the 54.
What a fight between these two drivers.
Right here. Focus on your exit.
A big charge into 3. He's going to try to slide up in front of him. Not enough room. Here comes Chastain again.
The slide job. Denny Hamlin still in control, though. He knew not to hit the 10. 5 laps to go.
Yeah, how much did he hurt his tires right there in sliding them? That really makes the tires mad when you put that big of a slide. You see Denny having a hard time with his car right now. This reminds me of Ricky Craven and Kurt Busch trying to win the Southern 500.
We just saw once again Ross Chastain tagging the wall as he exited 2.
Denny can get to his rear bumper. The question is, would he lean on the 10 car? Coming to 4 laps to go, would he give him that little nudge on corner entry?
He's caught back up to it.
Steve, I think you said it. Denny Hamlin roll over the back of the 10 car. He does not want to make contact. He's racing an Xfinity regular. He doesn't want to move him out of the way. The question is, will he get tired and just decide he's going to have to?
That's the question as we come to 3 to go. The 54 is faster, but faster is one thing, passing is another. Denny is in every bag of tricks he has for Darlington, but now he's right on the rear bumper, Rick.
3 to go.
Big run. Shove him into 1 and then turn down under him right here.
He gets to the bumper. Oh. He gets into the wall. Ross Chastain, you saw the damage. Now Denny gets into the wall.
And as these two battle, Brandon Jones is entering the picture. There he is, that bright yellow 19. He's got to put pressure on Hamlin for the last 2 laps.
Can these two make it all the way for 2 more laps? They continue to race each other so hard, getting into the wall, and here comes Brandon Jones. 2 laps to go from Darlington.
After that last lap through 1 and 2, Brandon Jones knows anything can happen. Let's take a look. What happens? The 54 right at the left rear quarter panel of the 10.
Trying to pass him clean. They come off of turn 2, side by side for the lead.
Yeah, this could get the slide job that he's looking for right here. He's got more momentum this time.
Right rear. Trying to keep on his right rear.
He's out front, but can he hold it against the wall? He gets into the wall. So does the 10. Contact made. Here comes the 19. Brandon Jones is leading. 1 lap to go. Presented by Credit One Bank. Brandon Jones takes the lead away from the 2 that have been fighting for the last 15 laps. And Brandon Jones looking to go to victory lane again. 2 times a winner already this season. And Brandon Jones taking advantage of 2 very hungry drivers to get the win. And it's going to be Brandon Jones coming off of 4. He's going to win at Darlington.
Hey, man. Good job.
That's what I'm talking about, boys. Hell yeah, this place is badass too.
What a battle, Rick, between the 54 and the 10.
And you see the frustration, Ross Chastain. The damage to the back of the 54. Chastain has his window net down now. Mentioned, he's been so consistent, has been racing up front. So many top 10, so many top 5 finishes, and yet hasn't been able to find victory lane. Will that frustration boil over into maybe going to see Denny Hamlin, a guy who doesn't run regularly in this series, who will be running for a championship in the Cup Series? Will they have words?
I know that Ross probably is not happy with that, but that was just incredible driving by 2 drivers looking to win. And whether you run in the series full-time or not, you still want to win. You still want to do everything that you possibly can. And but that from Ross's side of it, that doesn't mean you have to like what happened either. It's just a great battle.
4 career wins for Brandon Jones. The helmet coming off of Chastain. You can see the disgust, knowing how close he was, leading the race. The 54 making contact, the 2 getting into the wall, allowing the 19 to slide right on by. And Brandon Jones gets his 3rd win of 2020. And another step closer to the playoffs, helping with playoff points and helping his cause maybe to march his way into the championship 4 and fight for a title in 2020. Let's go to Marty.
Rick, sometimes in racing the seas part for you, and today they did for Brandon Jones. What an impressive year it has been for the young man. He beat Kyle Busch at Phoenix. Today he beats Denny Hamlin here at Darlington. Those are 2 pretty big names. Boy, Brandon, sometimes the seas part, don't they? But you got to be in the right spot to take advantage of it. It was incredible for us to watch. What was your view of those final few laps?
I mean, look at the right side of this thing. I think everybody's looks like this, and that's what's so much fun about this track. This is a tough place to get around, and man, just smart in the head, I think, today. I think that's what got them. You saw them really racing hard, and I knew I was catching them, and we knew he was going to pull that big slider, and that's what you got to do sometimes to put yourself in position. But all in all, Robert Huffman paint scheme, I know this is so big for Toyota. Myself, oh my gosh, this place is huge on Southern 500 weekend, so take it, man. 3 wins this year. We're going to keep going. I think we got more in us.
Walk me through what you're watching right here as these 2 were racing so hard. At what point did you know, hey, I've got a shot at this?
I've been in this position actually a few times. I've been in it at Kansas when I've won a couple, and that's what came to mind. I mean, I know to back the entry up whenever they're going to race really hard, and that's my only option is to try to get a better exit than them.
Another win for you, Brandon. Is this a career year for you right now in a team that can make a run for a championship?
This is, man. I mean, you see us, I think every single weekend have some bad races, and we rally back and we don't give up and we get back in victory lane where we need to be.
What a year for Brandon Jones. He winds up in victory lane at Darlington, Parker.
Right, Marty, and one of the drivers that opened up that win for Brandon Jones was Denny Hamlin. That awesome battle of Ross Chastain. We just saw the replay of you going off into 3 there. Was that a Hail Mary move?
Yeah, a little bit. I thought I could clear him and get slowed up in time before I got to the wall, but just couldn't make up for the loss of track position we kept getting after every caution, and just he was running his line, I was running my line. I thought we had a great race going there, but I thought I saw an opportunity there to clear, but once I did, I just carried a little too much speed into 3, and obviously he got in back of us, and it allowed the 19 to kind of catch up to the both of us with us battling like that. So it was fun, just didn't work out.
You guys kept it very clean. Is some of that going through your mind that he's a Xfinity Series regular, you're not, you're interloping here, just this one-off race? Does that kind of go through your mind and not moving out of the way or making an aggressive move?
Yeah, I tried to race him really clean and do the best I could to give him the space that he had earned up front. I was trying to get him loose here and there, but never try to really run into him and get him up the racetrack. But I don't know, maybe I should have waited another lap and then tried something like that, but I thought I got such a good run off of 2. There's an opportunity to try to go clear, but I just couldn't get the car slowed up enough.
I know he didn't end up in victory lane, but you can kind of tell Denny had a lot of fun with that one, guys.
Fun from one side, maybe not as much fun from the other side. You see Ross Chastain sitting there, and we'll be talking with him in just a moment. But as we look at the playoff standings, Ross Chastain's name is now yellow, which means he is clinched as far as playoff berths go. It was based on points. He has enough points with only 3 races remaining that he will for sure make it into the field of 12. Again, a tough day for Brandon Brown, Jeremy Clements. Those 2 drivers started off the day with issues, but ultimately it worked out that Brandon Brown able to get back out on the racetrack even with the banged up race car and still is inside the top 12. But again, a fight that will be happening for the final 3 races of the regular season. Coming up next on NBCSN, it's going to be the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship from Road Atlanta. Let's check in with Marty and the other side of the Denny Chastain battle, Ross Chastain.
Yeah, let's ask Ross his view of that. Clearly a terrific car in the lead with a handful of laps to go. Walk me through the racing with Denny, and do you think all the moves made there were fair or not?
You know, Marty, it's pretty crazy to get out after a race like that and get asked questions like that that lead me into bad answers. But no, man, it's
that's a fair question, though, right?
I know.
You guys
I'm so
were racing,
proud, Marty, of my group to come back after the first race at Darlington. earlier this year, and bring the kind of race cars that we do now is night and day difference. So, I mean, yeah, Denny was faster. I knew that. Everybody watching on NBC knew that. I just kept ripping the top as best I could. I probably hit it 25 times, and I was really struggling on entry. I just had a weird sensation of speed where I felt like I was overcharging the corner, and Denny would drive 2 car lengths deeper every time. So I had a ton of front brake in the car, and if I wouldn't run the fence into 3, I would actually lock the left front up a little bit and lose my turn. So we're all fighting a lot of things, but to be able to go up against a guy like Denny Hamlin, a future Cup champion, and go to the end like that with him, Marty, is I'm just proud of this group. I'm proud of the effort. To come back 2 years after a heartbreak, yeah, it's another heartbreak, but man, this one, we finished, and we still finished second with a torn-up race car. So I just needed to make the crossover sooner into 3 there. And if I just make that and get back to his left rear, I think we race it out.
That's part of the fun of racing at Darlington, though. And the good news is, Ross, you're locked into the playoffs. So some good news coming out for Ross Chastain. A strong effort today. They wind up second here at Darlington.
Yeah, Marty, and they take the positive route there. I mean, Ross Chastain could have been disappointed with the way Denny raced him, but actually he was excited about the simple fact that he raced one of the best in the series.
Well, anytime you get a chance to race against the best of the track, you want your chance to beat him. He had that chance today. In the end, he didn't go to victory lane, but a great race to watch.
Yeah, and he handled that very, very well. Great driving.
Again, a reminder, tomorrow night on NBCSN, the playoffs begin for the Cup Series. Denny's a part of that. Coming up now on NBCSN, IMSA WeatherTech Championship from Road Atlanta.
This is forever. This is all that we own. It's now or never. We were born to win. We were born to make stars. We were born to win. We were born to win.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.